Dao Meeting Archives, January 10th, 2016. Ekata Adult Program by Ed Monaghan.
Let's go ahead and get started with the meeting beginning ritual. 起立，面向佛堂，参加先鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，参加多一点传心鞠躬，开班一鞠躬，请坐下。Please be seated.
So it's terrific to be here. I had anticipated being there in person, but I drove right by the temple yesterday because we took my father-in-law to see Master Zhou for a external Qigong healing session. So, but next week all should be well, I think. And we, over the past couple of months, Joanne and I have been working on our adult program at Ekata, and the intent being that we really feel it's important to infuse more and more the guiding philosophy that we believe with the physical practice. So we had a nice open house yesterday, and are going to be having open houses for the next two Saturdays. And I give a little presentation. There are two classes, new classes that I'm teaching. One is called the Train Your Brain class, which is where we discuss how to alter the configuration of our thoughts using Eastern methods of contemplative practice and meditation. And another class called the Spiritual Journey, which is based on one of the classes I teach at UCLA, which has to do with the means by which one is able to reach a state of samadhi or union or oneness. And so this is a little bit of an introduction to that. So if you'll bear with me here, I'm going to make sure my slide presentation is doing what it's supposed to do. There it goes. So what I think that I've shared previously, that Derek was the one who was responsible for finding the name that we ultimately gave to our center, Ekata, which means oneness. And we've added a little addendum to that, which is oneness of mind and purpose. We felt that was important to add. And our mission is to fuse ancient tradition from the East with the science and technology, so that we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, and we want to acknowledge the technological advances of our modern society, but at the same time learn from the past, learn from our teachers, learn from our elders, because many, many have gone before us who have figured some things out that we could certainly benefit from. And this ultimately is a method by which we hope to empower and liberate our members through physical expression, opening the gateway to mental and spiritual health. That's our mission. So the question that I'd have for everyone, if you could indulge me for just a moment, is the question that a lot of people are asking themselves this time of year, which is, have you ever experienced difficulty with patterns of behavior that run contrary to your well-being? Now, this could be in the form of a healthy diet that you start off with at the beginning of the year and you're great guns, and it goes for about 3 weeks and then just sort of tapers off and peters out into nothing. It could be exercise where, you know what, this year I'm going to do it, I'm going to get into shape, and pretty much the same pattern evolves. It could mean communication. It could mean interrelational triggers and patterns of behavior that are repetitive, redundant, that are not beneficial and yield pain in our lives. And so the question becomes, why is it that we do that? Why can't we have consistency and follow through what's creating that? So in order to address that issue, we first have to identify the problem. Then we have to acknowledge the problem. And then we have to examine the actual root of that problem before we can make any real headway in changing those behaviors. So what exactly is the root of the problem? The root, really, I think we could probably agree on this, is our thoughts. If we look at what drives our behavior, everything is a thought before it becomes a behavior. And what is a belief? A belief is a series of thoughts that are repetitive, that recur over and over again, that coalesce into a belief. And then this drives action, it drives behavior. So the core of it is not really the activity that we're performing, whether we're playing tennis, studying martial arts. It's not the diet that you choose, being a high percentage protein diet or a vegetable diet or whatever diet. That's not really the core issue. The core is what's driving our behavior and our ability to sustain it. So our approach to this is train your brain to train your body. And we discussed mindfulness. I gave a talk on this topic a while back, but just for the sake of reiterating the point, the definition of mindfulness is the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, or experiences on a moment-to-moment basis. Now, you notice I have Ozzy the Mindful Owl. I do not have a depiction of Ozzy because I do this usually in front of a class of people where I use little Ozzy. But little Ozzy is a character that we came across a few weeks ago when Joanne and I went to a workshop on conscious parenting, which was given by a wonderful lady named Dr. Shafali, who is a psychologist in New York that is a proponent of mindfulness-based parenting. And one of the vendors, supporting vendors there, a place called, I believe, Go Zen, if I'm correct about the particular vendor who has Ozzy. Ozzy is this wonderful little owl that's a stuffed owl that has a little meditation mat that he sits on. And it's designed for small children, 3 to 5-year-olds. But what I've found in describing this is that the Ozzy's little lessons and the metaphor for Ozzy really is resonating with the adults. Now, what Ozzy comes with is a little snow globe. And we've all seen snow globes, the kind like we get at Christmas time where you shake it and there are little flakes of snow that come up. Except in this case, it's Ozzy, the little owl, that's in the snow globe, and he's meditating. So when you shake up Ozzy, all the flakes surround Ozzy. And the metaphor is that the flakes are like our thoughts. And when we're still, the flakes settle. And when the flakes settle, the liquid surrounding Ozzy is clear. So obviously the metaphor is for clarity in our mind when our thoughts we enable them to be able to settle down. And that encapsulates the essence of mindfulness. It is to recognize the thoughts and allow them to dissolve and come back to our point of communication. So as we dissolve our thoughts, we are able to find this sense of peace, this sense of spaciousness, that then we can reprogram. We can begin to create the thoughts that are going to be beneficial. And this is a very slow process, Because if you imagine, and I think a little bit later on in this presentation we talk about some of the science behind this, every time that you concentrate, that you have a point of concentration such as the breath, a flame, a mantra, and we recognize that our thought goes, we go into our imagination. Oop, there's a thought. I'm thinking about fill in the blank. We catch ourselves and we bring our mind back to that point of concentration. That's like doing a rep for your brain. So if you're going to do a bicep curl, and I take you out into the gym and I said, we're going to do an awesome bicep curl. I want you to curl this bicep. And you do your curl and I make you do one of them. I would suspect that you're probably not going to get stronger that day. But if I take you into the gym and we do a bunch of bicep curls, and then we do that, or we start out slow, we do a few bicep curls. And we begin to do that, and we do that every day or every couple of days. Over time, what's going to happen is you are going to gain strength. You are going to gain density in the musculature. And that's exactly what happens with our brain. So as we practice mindfulness, it's strengthening the neurocortex in the brain. So here's something about the research regarding mindfulness. And this is from Dan Siegel, who is a colleague of mine that is one of the co-director of the Mindful Awareness Research Center at UCLA. Mindful awareness practices include yoga, tai chi, qigong, centering prayer, chanting, and mindfulness meditation derived from Buddhist tradition. Much of our in-depth research on the impact of mindful awareness on brain and immune function, as well as psychological and interpersonal changes, has emerged from the study of mindfulness meditation. Studies show that the ways we intentionally shape our internal focus of attention in mindfulness practice induces a state of brain activation during the practice. With repetition, an intentionally created state can become an enduring trait of the individual as reflected in long-term changes in brain function and structure. This is a fundamental property of neuroplasticity, how the brain changes in response to experience. Here, the experience is the focus of attention in a particular manner. So the benefits of mindfulness practice, and we've covered some of this before: increased focus, increased memory, reduced stress, more resilience under stress, increased empathy, improved immune function, decreased exercise, and dietary consistency. So what we do at our facility is that we train the mind and the body, and this is really our point of emphasis. It's learning to be mindful at rest and in action, so we can bring the same awareness. It's how we approach these activities. It's not that you're doing Zumba or martial arts or whatever it is that you're doing. It's the way in which you approach this process that's relevant. Mindfulness trains the prefrontal cortex of the brain. That's what controls one's ability to say no to emotional impulses. The process strengthens the circuitry in the brain responsible for releasing destructive and disturbing emotions. It widens the gap between impulse and action. And this awareness leads to the elimination of negative habits, decreased stress, and having a happy, healthy life. So this is kind of getting into the stuff that we actually do at our place, so I'll just kind of glance over this because I wanted to just kind of cover the general theme with you guys today. So we offer a consultation with either myself or Joanne. We go through a functional movement screen, which is kind of a physical therapy test for people who come in to make sure that they have no anomalous movement that needs to be corrected. And if they do, we give them corrections for it. Body composition analysis, and then we give them a conditioning program that's designed to not hurt them, but create this gradual movement toward good health. A nutrition program. We have a nutritionist on staff that is a wonderful young lady that actually works with my Chinese cardiologist, and and she has designed a plant-based diet for us that is a terrific cleansing program, and she also designs specific programs for people. We have a mindfulness-based training that we call O2 Life, which is oxygen, of course, being the root of all life and also the base of nearly all contemplative and meditative practice. Then we have the specialty classes that I mentioned to you guys, and then we have our group classes. This is all the stuff that we do at our facility. I'm just going to skip over that. These are the types of classes that we offer at our place. So you'll see we have them divided into yin and yang, so that we have, higher exertion level, and then things that are designed more for rejuvenation. And this is actually the structure, and maybe Derek can enlighten me about this. I have a mysterious PowerPoint thing where I tried to import a PDF that was colored and it ended up being black and white, but you guys will get the idea here. So the way that we divide everything is in the category of mind, body, and spirit. However, when addressing it from this perspective, a lot of people say mind, body, and spirit, but most of the time what that means, it's just, go do a few yoga poses and talk about it, but don't really get into the depth of that subject. So how we approach the training of the mind is through a scientific perspective. One of my colleagues, Siggy Hale, is a neuroscientist specializing in brain bilaterality, and I've done a lot of studying and work with him on his idea of creating a balanced approach to learning when it comes to left and right brain-based activities. So yin being the creative, yang being the linear thought-based activities. And most of us typically have a bias one way or another, just like we're right-handed or left-handed, to where we will be great at coming up with awesome ideas, but perhaps lack the self-discipline to do anything with them. Or we may be wonderful at being able to create linear thought-based goals, great at spreadsheets, great at manipulating numbers, but have kind of a hard time coming up with ideas. So finding a balance in those two realms is part of what makes us a complete human. And when we do that, we have harmony and balance. When we talk about the body, exert, heal, and rejuvenate is our general theme because it's a cycle. A lot of people, there's a lot of emphasis placed on exert, but not a whole lot on heal and rejuvenate. So with exert, we look at individual training and group training. Group training, because it's communal. When you're in with a group of like-minded people who are attempting to achieve the same thing, I'm not talking about just a class full of people that you kind of wander in anonymously to and do your own thing somewhere in a back corner and walk out again. I'm talking about a group of people that you engage with. That's the principle of the Sangha, right? Your community of like-minded individuals that support your beliefs. It creates motivation to continue forward. So there is the group element that we support, as well as the responsibility of the individual. The individual has to take responsibility for doing their own personal training, whatever that might be. And in that regard, in my opinion, the best choice is education. Educate yourself. If you need to have training from someone in order to learn how to properly train yourself, then do that, and then ultimately then the responsibility is up to you. But it is the balance between individual and group training which ultimately tends to create the greatest yield of results. With healing, nutrition is what heals us, and sleep. We actually have a sleep therapist who is one of our students that's going to be talking during our presentations, talking about the importance of proper rest and how you can achieve that, and some kind of important things that a lot of people don't think about. She told me no electronic devices 2 hours before bed. I went, holy cow, I'm always on my computer writing or doing emails or whatever, or if I'm just winding down at night watching TV or something. So I usually go to bed and read before I go to sleep, but it's, maybe 20 minutes or a half hour, so boom, there's one thing that I have to do to modify. But food clearly is a source of healing, and this is why I'm so happy that I converted to a vegetable-based diet. We also give out herbal supplements that are Chinese herbs, a lot of superfood-based stuff to kind of heighten, with very natural organic stuff to bolster the metabolism and the immune system. And then rejuvenate, we are proponents of acupuncture and massage. And, I think we can probably all say, just think about the last time you got a massage. And if you got a massage and you said, man, that was so awesome, I really should do that more regularly. And then, do it again for 6 months. There's a reason that it's awesome and it feels so good, because there's a healing quality to that. It rejuvenates us. It's an integral part of sports performances for professional athletes. So for regular folks, stands to reason that might be a worthwhile investment as well. So this is, again, the cycle. And then when it comes to the spirit, contemplative practice incorporating the use of meditation, mindfulness, contemplation, which of course leads to higher degrees of conscious awareness, which kind of a chicken or the egg thing, yields appreciation, and this moves us forward with our life purpose. Now, where these arrows all converge, my PDF, for some reason or other, did not read what's there, but it says, it should say, where all these arrows converge is the art of living. And that's kind of our tagline that we use, Ekata, the art of living, because it's the combination of all these things which create health. And there's our rates. And that's it. So I hope that provides a little bit of an overview of the types of things that we do. And again, I apologize, I wasn't really prepared to present today. I was just logging on so I could tell Derek I wasn't going to present. But so hopefully it was beneficial in some way.
Let's go ahead and do the meeting ending ritual, everybody. 起立，面向佛堂，持架三鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，持架多一点，纯是一鞠躬，结班一鞠躬。Okay, that's it. We're done. Thanks, everybody.
Join the Tao meeting live to participate in the questions and commentary. For more information, go to http://taoism.net/tao/connect-online.